Welcome back to Wise Wolf. I'm Kokil, and thank you for joining me to celebrate the full cold moon on December 4th, 2025. The December full moon is most commonly called the cold moon because it marks the beginning of winter in the northern hemisphere. It is also known as the long night moon because the full moon occurs around the winter solstice, which has the longest night of the year. This is our final episode of 2025, and what a journey it's been. We've explored intelligence, both natural and artificial, contemplated the illusion of time, examined liberation from limiting systems, discovered how to nourish our consciousness through food. Now we arrive at the threshold of winter, the season of magic, mystery, and return of light. The cold moon rises tonight, illuminating the darkest time of year. In just over 2 weeks, we'll reach the winter solstice, the longest night, and then slowly, almost imperceptibly, the light begins its return. Tonight we steep ourselves in the old ways, the healing plants, and the magic that's been quietly simmering beneath the surface of our modern world for centuries. This is where herbalism meets intention, where the moon pulls our strings, and where we remember that December wasn't always about shopping and overpacked airports. It was about survival, celebration, and honoring the darkest days before the light returned. Let's start with what's actually happening in the sky, because understanding the science makes the magic deeper, not less. The winter solstice occurs on December 21st this year, the most astronomical of astronomical events. On this day, Earth's North Pole tilts about 23.4 degrees away from the sun. The sun reaches its lowest point in the sky, giving us the shortest day and the longest night of the year in the northern hemisphere. The word solstice comes from Latin, sol meaning sun and sister meaning to stand still. The sun literally appears to pause in its journey across the sky before reversing direction. The atmosphere plays a magical role in how we experience this day. Because the sun's rays hit Earth at a lower angle, they travel through more atmosphere to reach us. This creates that particular golden amber quality of winter light, softer, diffused with blue light scattered away and warmer wavelengths remaining. The light on the winter solstice is literally different from any other day of the year. Our ancestors may not have had telescopes or digital calendars, but they watched. They observed that the sun was dying, its light failing, and then they were genuinely afraid. What if it doesn't come back? So they lit fires, huge fires. They gathered together. They created rituals because ritual works. It gave them something to do with their fear and created community bonds that helped them get through winter together. The ancients tracked the solstice with remarkable precision. Stonehenge aligns perfectly to the winter solstice sunset. Newgrange in Ireland is illuminated only at the winter solstice sunrise. This wasn't accident, this was deep observation, profound intentionality, and respect for celestial mechanics thousands of years before modern astronomy. The winter solstice is a threshold moment, a turning point. After December 21st, the days begin incrementally, almost imperceptibly, to lengthen. The light starts returning. This is why cultures worldwide mark this day as sacred. It's the pivot point between darkness and light, death and rebirth. Tonight's full moon carries its own power. The cold moon illuminates the longest nights of the year. We have maximum darkness and maximum moonlight meeting in perfect paradox. This timing is significant. The full moon represents peak energy, full illumination, the moment when what's been hiding becomes visible. The cold moon specifically asks, what are you releasing? What are you resting into? What needs to die so something new can be born in spring? This is a powerful time for banishing work. If there's a pattern, a relationship, habit, or emotion you've been carrying that no longer serves you, the cold moon offers the energy to release it. You can write it down and burn it safely. You can bury it. You can tear paper and scatter it to wind. The act of releasing under the full moon is potent. It's also excellent time to charge crystals, herbs, leave them where moonlight can reach them overnight, outside if safe, or on a windowsill. Water left under the full moon becomes moon water, which you can use for cleansing, adding to tea, or sprinkling around your space. Let's get a little witchy tonight. Because tonight's full moon carries its own power. The cold moon illuminates the longest night of the year. We have maximum darkness and maximum moonlight meeting in perfect paradox. The medicine keepers. There are specific winter herbs that help us survive and thrive through winter. Rosemary, for example, is also known as the remembrance herb. Rosemary is evergreen, meaning it stays vital even in cold. It's warming to the body, stimulating circulation and digestion. Medicinally, it supports memory and mental clarity. Burn dried rosemary to cleanse your space. Add it to winter soups and stews. Hang it above doorways for protection. Its piney, invigorating scent cuts through winter sluggishness. Pine and fir. These evergreens were brought indoors not just for decoration, but because they represent life persisting through darkness. Pine needles make excellent tea rich in vitamin C. Our ancestors knew this prevented scurvy during long winters. The resin has antimicrobial properties. Pine brings purification and renewal energy. Walking through pine forests in winter, breathing that cold, resinous air is medicinal for both body and spirit. Cinnamon, one of my favorites, is a warming spice, increases circulation and body heat. It stabilizes blood sugar and supports immune function. Add it to winter drinks, baked goods, even mulled wine. Its sweet, warming energy feels like internal sunshine. Perhaps the most warming herb available is ginger. Ginger generates heat from within, supports digestion, reduces inflammation, and fights off colds. Fresh ginger tea with honey and lemon is winter survival medicine. Elderberry, the winter immune champion, are rich in antioxidants and have proven antiviral properties. Elderberry syrup is traditionally a winter medicine across Europe. Thyme, this humble herb is antimicrobial and expectorant, excellent for respiratory health during cold months. It's warming without being overstimulating. Burn it as incense or add it to winter cooking. Nettle. Though it grows in spring, dried nettle is valuable winter nutrition. It's rich in iron, calcium, and minerals that support energy when fresh greens are scarce. Nettle tea is strengthening and grounding. Sage. White sage for smoke cleansing, culinary sage for cooking. Sage is drying and warming, excellent for the damp cold of winter. It supports digestion of heavy winter foods. Use it to cleanse your space before setting winter intentions. Clove, intensely warming and antimicrobial. Clove oil applied topically, diluted, brings warmth to cold extremities. In mulled wine or cider, cloves add spice and medicine. While most plants rest in winter, some actually thrive, and there's wisdom in their persistence. Holly, with its bright red berries and glossy green leaves, holly represents vitality in darkness. The berries feed winter birds when other food is scarce. Ancient peoples brought holly indoors, believing protective spirits lived within it. Another evergreen that thrives in cold is ivy. Ivy represents the feminine divine energy, and together with holly represents balance. Ivy is persistent, strong, and adaptable. Valuable qualities for winter survival. One of the few plants that actually flower in winter, producing cheerful yellow blooms even in cold, is my favorite, winter jasmine. It reminds us that beauty persists, that life continues, that spring will return. Its optimism is medicine for winter melancholy. Christmas rose. These remarkable plants bloom in snow, producing flowers when nothing else will. They're toxic if ingested, but visually stunning. They teach us that beauty can emerge from harsh conditions, that strength sometimes looks delicate. Kale and family. These vegetables actually taste sweeter after frost because they convert starches to sugars for cold protection. They provide fresh nutrition when little else grows. They teach us that challenges can make us better, that adversity can bring out hidden qualities. Winterberry, deciduous holly that loses its leaves but keeps its brilliant red berries all winter. The berries stand out dramatically against snow, providing visual warmth and food for birds. It teaches visibility, standing out, being present even when circumstances are stark. Let's get into the true story of Saint Nicholas, the real person behind the commercial fiction, because this story is worth knowing. Saint Nicholas was a 4th century bishop born in what's now southern Turkey around 280 AD. Born wealthy, he lost his parents to an epidemic and inherited a fortune. Instead of living in luxury, he gave away his entire inheritance and became a monk. Nicholas was known for secret gift-giving. He would leave money or gifts anonymously under cover of darkness for people with desperate need. The most famous legend tells of him saving 3 young women from exploitation by leaving bags of gold for their dowries so they could marry rather than being sold into servitude. This is the original Santa, a man who gave without expectation or recognition, who used wealth as a tool of justice, who helped people in genuine need. The Dutch called him Sinterklaas, and when they went to America, the name evolved to Santa Claus. But something else evolved too. The story got commercialized. The radical generosity became advertising, consumption-based shopping. If the modern society honored St. Nicholas's legacy, Christmas would look very different. It would be about identifying who in your community needs help and giving it anonymously. It would be less about radical consumerism, but more about generosity. Sadly, we've let corporations hijack an entire month. December has become synonymous with shopping, spending, consuming, accumulating things. But according to St. Nicholas's story, the most meaningful gifts cost little and mean much more. Winter magic isn't a European invention. Virtually every culture developed traditions for surviving and honoring the dark months. In the Celtic tradition, the Celts celebrated Yule, marking the winter solstice with fire. Druids understood astronomy, herbalism, and the magic of seasonal cycles. They honored the Holly King, representing winter's darkness, and the Oak King, representing the returning light. In the Norse traditions, Vikings held great feasts during Yule, burning massive logs that weren't allowed to go out. They practiced the magical work involving trance, divination, and working with spirits. Winter was sacred time for ancestor work and honoring the dead. Indigenous American practices involved Native people across North America had winter ceremonies honoring the sun's return, giving thanks for stored food, and telling sacred stories. Winter was teaching time when elders passed down knowledge and communities strengthened bonds that would sustain them through hardship. Kwanzaa, created in 1966, draws on harvest traditions. Root work and hoodoo incorporate winter protection magic using herbs, minerals, and spiritual forces. In the Asian traditions, winter solstice celebrations span from China's Dongzhi festival to Japan's Toji bath rituals. These cultures understood the energetic shift of solstice and marked it with specific foods, ceremonies, and family gatherings. What connects all these global cultures is recognizing that winter is a threshold time, understanding that darkness serves purpose, knowledge that ceremony and community help us survive harsh seasons, respect for the plants and practices that sustain life when the earth seems dead. The witch hunt of Europe, the persecution of indigenous spirituality, the criminalization of African magical practices, these were attempts to destroy the knowledge, but it survived. It went underground. It was whispered between grandmothers and grandchildren. And here are some traditions you can bring into your December that are meaningful, intentional, and don't require you to spend any money. The Yule log ceremony. Traditionally, a wooden log was burned from winter solstice through the new year, never allowed to go completely out. Modern practice: burn a log in your fireplace or burn a candle in a wooden holder as your symbolic Yule log. As it burns, set intentions for the returning light. Wuzzling, an old English tradition of gathering around fruit trees with warm spice drinks, singing blessings to encourage spring fruit. Winter altar, create a dedicated space with evergreen branches, pine cones, candles, crystals, and anything wintry that feels magical to you. This becomes your focal point for meditation and ritual throughout the season. Solstice vigil, stay awake through the longest night, keeping candles or fires lit. Mark the sunrise with ritual, celebration, or simply witnessing. You're participating in an ancient practice of coaxing back the sun. Winter altar, Create a dedicated space with evergreen branches, pine cones, candles, crystals, and anything wintry that feels magical to you. This becomes your focal point for meditation and ritual throughout the season. Herbal preparations. Use December to make teas, oils, and salves for winter wellness. Make elderberry syrup, infuse oils with warming herbs like rosemary and ginger. Create tea blends with cinnamon, clove, and orange peel. Cleansing rituals. As the year closes, cleanse your space with smoke from rosemary, pine, or sage. Open windows briefly to let stale energy out. Salt your thresholds. You're clearing old energy to make room for new growth. Divination work. The darkness of winter invites introspection. Pull tarot or oracle cards, journal on questions. What have I learned this year? What am I ready to release? What wants to grow in me? Darkness is time for turning inward. Ancestor honoring. Set up a small altar with photos or names of those who've passed. Light candles for them. Leave small offerings, food, drink, flowers. Tell their stories. Community gathering. Invite people over. Share food you prepared, not purchased. Light candles, tell stories. This is where real magic happens, in gatherings, witnessing and shared intention. Moon, water, and winter magic. Let's return to tonight's cold moon and some practical magic you can do. Making moon water. Place a jar or bowl of clean water where moonlight can reach it tonight. Leave it out for at least 3 hours, ideally all night. This water becomes charged with lunar energy. Some of the uses of moon water are you can add it to your bath for cleansing and charging, water your plants with it, add to tea or drinking water if the container was food safe, use in cleaning solutions to energetically cleanse your space, spray around your home for protection and clearing. Cold moon release ritual. Write down what you're releasing, patterns, relationships, habits, limiting beliefs. Be specific. Thank each thing for what it taught you. Then safely burn the paper in a fireproof container or bury it. As you do, visualize the energy being released back to the universe where it can be transformed. This marks the completion of a cycle. Charging your tools. Place crystals, jewelry, tarot cards, or other magical tools where the moonlight reaches them. They'll absorb the cold moon's introspective releasing energy. Use them throughout winter for divination and manifestation work. From the vast perspectives that we've explored all year, winter represents a necessary phase in the cosmic cycle. Just as the universe expands and contracts, creates and destroys, manifests and dissolves, so does the earth through its seasons. Winter is the contraction, the dissolution, the return to potential before new creation. Your own consciousness follows these patterns. You need periods of outward activity and periods of inward rest. You need times of doing and times of being. Winter teaches this rhythm. The same cosmic intelligence that organizes galaxies and grows forests also orchestrates seasonal cycles. When you align with winter's energy, resting, reflecting, releasing, preparing, you're working with universal patterns rather than against them. This is biomimicry at the consciousness level, designing your inner life to match the rhythms that govern all existence. And here's how to actually live this wisdom. Honor rest. Winter is for slowing down, go to bed earlier, take naps, say no to obligations that drain you. Rest isn't laziness, it's alignment with seasonal energy. Simplify celebrations. Instead of elaborate, expensive, stressful holidays, create simple, meaningful rituals. Nourish deeply. Make hearty soups with winter vegetables and warming herbs. Drink hot tea throughout the day. Eat root vegetables and warming spices. Feed your body for the season. Move your body. Even though winter invites rest, you still need movement. Walk outside in daylight when possible. Stretch. Dance in your living room. Movement prevents stagnation while honoring the need for gentleness. Create warmth. Light candles, build fires if you can, layer cozy blankets, create physical and emotional warmth in your space, making your environment nurturing. Connect with others. Winter is traditionally time for community. Humans survived harsh winters by banding together, sharing resources, telling stories, maintaining hope. Don't isolate, gather even in small ways. As we close this final episode of 2025, I invite you to choose one practice from this episode and commit to it through the solstice. Maybe it's making moon water tonight under the cold moon. Maybe it's creating a winter altar. Maybe it's preparing elderberry syrup. Maybe it's giving one truly meaningful handmade gift. Whatever you choose, do it with intention. Do it as an act of reclaiming December's real magic from the noise of commercialism. Do it as participation in ancient traditions that honored darkness, celebrated light, and understood that survival requires community, preparation, and respect for natural cycles. I cannot thank you enough for being on this journey through 2025. We've explored intelligence, natural and artificial, the illusion of time, liberation from patriarchy, nutrition for consciousness, and now winter's magic. You've shown up month after month under different moons, bringing your curiosity, your questions, your willingness to think differently about familiar things. That matters, and that's how consciousness evolves, through individuals choosing awareness over automation, meaning over marketing, connection over consumption. And as we enter this month of December, may you find warmth when you're cold, light when it's dark, and magic in the quiet moments between obligations. May your fires burn bright and your rest be deep. May you release what no longer serves and prepare space for what wants to grow. May you remember that you're part of ancient lineages of people who honored these cycles, and that your participation in these traditions connects you to something vast and timeless. May this December bring you genuine peace, real joy, and the kind of magic that only happens when you stop performing and start being. Until we meet again in 2026, practice the old ways. Light your candles, make your teas, honor the darkness, celebrate the light's return. The cold moon tonight reminds us that even in the longest darkness, there's illumination. Even in the coldest season, there's warmth to be found and created. Stay magical, stay warm, and blessed cold moon to you all. Before we close, I want to share some exciting news about what's coming next. This episode, as you already know, marks the end of Wise Wolf's first season. This year has been a trial run, a way for me to explore what this podcast could be and how to share the knowledge and stories that feel important to tell. For season 2, we're making some changes. Instead of returning in January, we'll be back in April 2026, following the traditional Vedic calendar where the new year begins with spring rather than in the dead of winter. Since we're committed to aligning with nature's cycles and seasons as much as possible, this new schedule feels natural and right. And here's the fun part. Instead of one episode per month on the full moon, I'll be releasing 2 episodes monthly, one on the new moon and one on the full moon, April through September, concluding season 2 as autumn begins. So we'll see you in the actual new year, the one that arrives with spring's first breath, with new growth, with light returning. Our next episode will be released on April 2nd, 2026, under the new moon. Until then, take these winter months to rest, reflect, integrate everything we've explored together so far, and I hope to see you in spring.